Welcome to Pages and Pods. For today's podcast, we'll explore Rudolf Steiner's unique insights into the Gospels, focusing on a chapter titled The Four Gospels in the Light of Anthroposophy from, according to Luke, the Gospel of Compassion and Love Revealed, edited by Robert McDermott. This presentation will delve into Steiner's views on the spiritual foundations of the Gospels, the supersensible abilities of their authors, and how spiritual science can illuminate their meaning. According to Steiner, the Gospels were not written as mere historical accounts or ordinary narratives. Instead, they were authored by individuals with the spiritual capacity to perceive beyond the material world, clairvoyants and initiates. These individuals could see into the depths of the cosmos and the supersensible realm. Their work represents not just an earthly testimony, but a spiritual revelation rooted in their ability to access higher dimensions of reality. Steiner describes three distinct levels of spiritual perception that go beyond ordinary sensory understanding. First, imaginative cognition. This is the realm where clairvoyants perceive living, colorful images that reveal the astral and etheric qualities of beings. Through imaginative cognition, one can understand the emotional state and spiritual essence of individuals or phenomena. It is here that the clairvoyant begins to transcend the ordinary three-dimensional world. Second is inspired cognition. Inspired cognition marks the transition from observation to interaction. This capacity belongs to initiates, who can hear or inwardly sense the messages and intentions of spiritual beings. Unlike imaginative cognition, which provides vivid spiritual imagery, inspired cognition allows for direct communication with the astral and etheric entities that influence the cosmos. This stage is deeply spiritual, as the initiate begins to understand the forces shaping the spiritual evolution of humanity. Inspired cognition provides clarity and meaning to the spiritual pictures observed in the imaginative cognition, bridging the gap between perception and comprehension. Third, intuitive cognition. At the highest level, intuitive cognition, the individual achieves complete unity with spiritual beings and truths. Steiner defines this as standing in God, a state where the initiate lets go of their ego entirely and merges with the divine. Intuition involves direct participation in spiritual realities. It is no longer about observing or communicating, but becoming one with the spiritual truth itself. While these stages are progressive, Steiner explains that it is possible for an initiate to access the realms of inspiration and intuition without possessing clairvoyant abilities. Such was the case with the author of the Gospel of John, whose profound spiritual insights reflect inspiration and intuition, as opposed to the more imaginative qualities of Luke's Gospel. Therefore, while the three levels of cognition represent a progression, Steiner draws a clear distinction between clairvoyants and initiates. Clairvoyants are those who have developed imaginative cognition. They can perceive the spiritual images and forces underlying the physical world, offering insights into the astral and etheric qualities of life. However, clairvoyants remain observers. They do not engage with higher spiritual beings or achieve the selflessness required for intuitive cognition. Initiates are individuals who have transcended the imaginative realm and accessed inspired and intuitive cognition. They possess the ability to communicate with spiritual beings and immerse themselves in divine truths. While all initiates are spiritually advanced, not all rely on imaginative cognition. Some initiates may reach the inspired and intuitive realms through other paths, bypassing the pictorial stage of imaginative cognition. Steiner highlights that Luke, as a clairvoyant, worked predominantly within the realm of imaginative cognition. Luke's gospel reflects his ability to vividly perceive and describe the lives of those he called servants of the Word. These were individuals who had first-hand knowledge of Christ, but were not themselves clairvoyant. Luke's imaginative cognition allowed him to weave their accounts into a deeply human and compassionate narrative that resonates on a spiritual level. Steiner insists that the Gospels must be understood not as literal historical documents, but as profound spiritual revelations. By applying spiritual science, we can uncover their supersensible truths. For example, the Gospel of John reflects the inspired and intuitive cognition of its author, who reveals cosmic mysteries in a deeply spiritual and universal way. The Gospel of Luke, by contrast, expresses the imaginative cognition of a clairvoyant who could perceive the living essence of Christ's compassion and humanity. Steiner also emphasizes that the path to spiritual understanding requires recognizing the human being as a synthesis of physical, etheric, astral, and the I elements. Through imaginative cognition, we can perceive the astral body and trace its connections through the spiritual worlds, even encountering the dwelling place of the gods, Devachan. It is here, in this supersensible realm, that the principle of interpenetrability allows initiates to follow a person's eye across lifetimes, uncovering their spiritual journey. To fully understand the Gospel of Luke through spiritual science, Steiner draws on the Akashic Record. Steiner introduces the concept of the Akashic Record, a spiritual archive that holds the imprints of all events, thoughts, and actions throughout time. This is not a physical record, but a dynamic, etheric memory field that can be accessed by trained clairvoyants. Steiner cautions, however, that interpreting the Akashic Record requires great spiritual discipline, as perceptions can be colored by the clairvoyant's own astral and etheric makeup. The Akashic Record provides insight not only into individual lives, but also into the interconnectedness of cosmic events. For example, Steiner's spiritual research uses the Akashic Record to trace the lineage of Christ through past incarnations, revealing the spiritual threads that culminated into the Christ being. However, Steiner explains that understanding an individual's spiritual history is complex, as it involves 4 distinct lineages: the physical lineage, which reflects inherited traits; the etheric lineage, tied to life forces and vitality; the astral lineage, representing emotions, desires, and spiritual experiences; and the lineage of the I, or the eternal individuality, which evolves through successive incarnations. Each of these lineages converges uniquely in an individual's current incarnation, forming a multi-dimensional tapestry of their existence. As Steiner moves into the next chapter, he prepares to explore the lineage of Christ through spiritual science, tracing his connection to past spiritual streams, including the Buddha. This approach reveals Christ as the culmination of many spiritual impulses, a being who unites and transcends the lineages of physical, etheric, astral, and the I. By using spiritual science to interpret the Gospels, Steiner opens a window into the supersensible truths they contain, offering us a path to deeper spiritual understanding. This concludes my analysis of the 4 Gospels in the Light of Anthroposophy, from the book titled According to Luke. If you like this presentation, give it a like and subscribe to my channel, Pages and Pods, where I will bring more analysis of the supersensible world, especially as it relates to my upcoming novel, Being on Mars. See the links in the description below.